Hello, all of you people out there on the big old internetio. How are you doing? I hope you're doing very well. I'm JT. This is Ronjiru Japan. I thought I would tell a story today from around the time when I was a junior high school student. Quite a few years ago now. It's a story about a trumpet. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of the actual trumpet to show, but I did manage to find a photo that looks kind of similar, so at least you'll get an idea of what the trumpet looked like later on in this clip. I have had to leave out some details just to keep it short, and I've also had to change a few details. For example, the names of the people, the characters that are in this little anecdote. But I'll do my best to, I got all the main points down, so here goes. So, way back in the day, we had moved to a new area, and I didn't have any friends because it was a new area, and we'd moved there, and it wasn't quite the new school year yet. It was a little bit before the new school year started. So I was looking forward to the new school year, maybe make some new friends. But anyways, the place that we moved to was beside our next door neighbor, who was an older gentleman from Poland. He was an immigrant from Poland. He spoke with a heavy accent. He was a lovely man, and he liked me. I liked him. I'm going to call him Mr. Poland. That's not his real name, but I'm going to call him Mr. Poland. So Mr. Poland had this dog. I'm going to call her Clover. She was a real friendly little dog, and we used to play all the time because, you know, what else are you going to do? She's kind of like my only friend at the time. And she loved to play Go Fetch, except she didn't fetch. She'd love to have me throw a stick, and I'd throw the stick, and she'd go running after it. And then she kind of, you know how dogs do, right? Just she'd grab the stick, and she'd lower her front body, and she'd put her butt up in the air, and her tail was just wagging like crazy. And she liked it when I chased her. So inevitably, of course, I would chase her, and I'd chase her through over to Mr. Poland's property. So he was used to me running back and forth, and he liked me, and there was no problem. But that was fun. Fast forward to when the school year started. Another reason why I was looking forward to the school year is because in the new school I was going to enter, they had a band class, a music class. And I was excited about that. I've always wanted to play an instrument, and I thought, I think I'd like to try my hand at the trumpet to see if I'm any good. However, we were not a wealthy family, and we were unable to afford buying one of those nice fancy brass new trumpets that all the kids were getting. We also couldn't get at least one. So I kind of was dejected, thinking I might have to give up on my idea of learning how to play the trumpet. So dejected little JT was sitting outside, throwing rocks across the yard. And Mr. Poland kind of shuffled up to me. He had a bit of a limp, so I used the word shuffled. He walked up and he said, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I told him, "Oh, we don't have a trumpet for band class, so I'm kind of sad." And he said, "Oh, you want to play the trumpet?" And I said, "Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to try something, and I think a trumpet would be a cool instrument." And he said, you know, I used to play the trumpet. As a matter of fact, I think I still have the trumpet in the house somewhere. Let me go check." Then he walked away, and he came back a while later, and he said, "Yeah, I found it. Here it is." And he was holding this beaten up old sort of wooden box. It wasn't a totally square box like you see now, the rectangular black box. It was kind of brownish in color, and it was flat on one end and round on the horn end, and it was old and beaten up. And one of the clips on the handle was gone, so it was kind of hanging off of one handle. But it was a trumpet, and I was excited. It's like, can I really use this? He says, "Yes. Why don't you take this to your band class and see if you can make it sing?" He used the word sing, which I thought was hilarious. And so I took it inside. I was excited. I opened it up, put it on my bed, and I opened up the box. And whoa, was I shocked. So first of all, the velvet, I think it was velvet, or used to once have been velvet, inside was a little bit musty, kind of mildewy smelling. But the biggest shock was the trumpet itself. It was silver. I mean, it might have been nickel plated, but the color was silver. And the thing that all the people in the classes were using were those brass trumpets, kind of golden colored, bronze colored brass trumpets. So I thought, whoa, I didn't know they made trumpets that were silver. I didn't know anything about trumpets, but that's the lesson for that day. The other thing that struck me was the smell of the trumpet. You know, that old metal smell. I think all of us have walked into, for example, an old hotel and grabbed onto one of those old like brass doorknobs or something, and then you smell your fingers and you can smell that old metal smell that's on that. Well, that's what the trumpet smelled like. So as soon as you open the box, you get what shall we say? You get to enjoy the sort of mildewy smell and then that old metal smell. But a trumpet is a trumpet, and I was excited. Fast forward to the start of the school year. So I started band class, and for the first few classes, I don't believe we even touched our instruments. A lot of it was theory and explanations and things, also learning how to read music and things like that. Then, one day, the day finally came when we opened up our instruments. And I was so excited. Everybody was so excited. We finally get to touch our instruments. And I was sitting in the trumpet section, of course. And so we opened up our instruments boxes. And all my classmates had these fancy, brass new trumpets. And I had my old beat up old box. And I opened it. And man, oh man, everyone looked at me. All my classmates looked at me. And they said, "What is that?" And they all laughed, like really laughed. And I thought, it's a trumpet, isn't it? I mean, I don't even know how to blow the thing yet, but a trumpet's a trumpet. But apparently a trumpet's not a trumpet. So they tied into me. They teased me quite a lot. Things like, "Oh, did you just go pick that up at the junkyard?" Or, "Next time you have a shower, you should bring that thing in there with you." Those sort of teasing things. And it went on and on. Every class, there was that moment when I brought out the old, smelly old silver trumpet. And they would laugh and tease and tease. And it really started getting to me. Remember, when you're a kid, when you're young like that, you really want to be accepted by your peers, especially when you're new kid on the block like I was. Word got around and I became known as the new kid with the old trumpet. And it even started happening outside the classroom. So I got really discouraged, and I decided, well, if this is what it's like to have to play the trumpet, then screw it. I'm not doing this. And I got dejected. It took a long time. It took many sessions of being teased mercilessly by my classmates. So one day I was sitting in the yard, tossing rocks across the yard again, and little Clover was sitting a little bit farther away from me than she normally does. She knew I wasn't in the mood to play, but she was kind of watching over me, which was very nice of her. But I was sniffling a bit, and I was even crying a bit, and lo and behold, Mr. Poland noticed, and he came shuffling over, and he said, "What's the matter?" And it really made me stuck. I mean, the very kind old gentleman has lent me his trumpet. How can I tell him that it's basically a smelly old ratty old trumpet that's getting me teased at school? That would be ungrateful, and it would probably be rude. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but he had a look on his face that was firm, as if he wasn't going to take nothing as an answer. So I thought about it for a moment or two, and then I told him, "Mr. Poland, the kids are teasing me about the trumpet because it's old." And he kind of smiled a little bit, a funny little smile, and he looked down and he said, "Let me tell you, your trumpet is different from everyone else's." It's like, yeah, no kidding. That's why I'm getting teased. But I didn't say that. I listened. I let him continue. And he said, "Let me tell you about that trumpet. That trumpet was used at the end of World War II. That trumpet has seen what it's like to be in a communist country. And now that trumpet is here. And every time you make it sing," he used the word sing, "every time you make it sing, you are celebrating freedom and remembering history. You tell that to your classmates. It'll be okay." And then he said, "Come on, Clover." And they both walked away. Well, come on. I mean, that would that completely changed my attitude totally. I've got a super trumpet. It's like a World War II veteran. and escaped from like behind the Iron Curtain. It was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I loved my old new trumpet. It wasn't mine, but I loved that old new trumpet to get all over again. So I went back to band class, and it started out the way it always does. What else did you pick up at the junkyard lately? Blah, 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 blah. Well, this time, it didn't make me sad. I said, in a very loud voice, "Hey, this trumpet fought in World War II." Now, that's not exactly what Mr. Poland said. I kind of changed it a little bit, but that's what I said. This trumpet fought in World War II. This trumpet escaped a communist country. Every time it sings, I use the word sing. Every time it sings, it's celebrating the freedom that you have. What has your trumpet seen? What has your trumpet done? Leave me alone. The room was dead silent, and then the music teacher piped up. She was a wonderful, wonderful teacher. She said, "That small little mouthpiece on that trumpet I was using, that's actually harder to play than the the mouthpieces on the newer trumpets. Now we have work to do. Let's get at it." And we did. We got at it. And I'll tell you, from that moment forward, no one ever teased me about that smelly old silver trumpet that I used in music class. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Japan, Ronjiru Japan? Well, maybe nothing, but maybe quite a lot. Because the lesson I learned has served me well throughout the journey of my life and throughout my many years here in Japan. What Mr. Poland taught me that day is this. It doesn't matter what color your trumpet is. It doesn't matter if it's old or new. It doesn't matter if it's shaped a bit differently than those around you. The only thing that matters, based on its experiences, is how beautifully you play it and how meaningful is that song. Thank you, Mr. Poland. From Ronjiru Japan in Tokyo, I've been JT. Be sure to subscribe and share. Love and socially distant hugs to all of you. Take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. For more insights on Japan from people who know Japan, be sure to subscribe to the Ronjiru Japan YouTube channel right now. Just click the subscribe button below this video and the notification bell so you'll always know when we post something new. From Ronjiru Japan in Tokyo, I've been JT. See you in the next video, everyone. O genki de ne.